Hey kids, we're going to be reading chapters 34 and 35, kind of short chapters in Hello Universe. So chapter 34 starts on page 260. Chapter 34, Valencia. I must admit, it was a little disappointing to find out the snake bite wasn't poisonous. Not that I wanted Chet's throat to swell up or anything. I would never wish something like that on anyone, but an arm infected with poison and a scary trip to the emergency room would have been nice. But then Chet would have big dramatic story to tell, so maybe it was for the best. I could picture it now. I went to the emergency room and almost died, man. It was a close call for a while there. The doctors said I was lucky I killed that cobra when I did. Good thing I had enough strength to demolish it and throw it down that well. Then again, he probably would tell that story anyway. After Chet walks off, I pick up the pillowcase like it's a dirty sock. I wasn't crazy about the idea of holding something that had been touched by Chet's sweat, but I'd already littered the woods with my mother's old bowls. The least I could do was throw this atrocious object away. I didn't want some squirrel family to find it, or Sakrid. The thought of Sakrid cuddling up with something like Chet's pillowcase didn't sit well with me. When I glanced back at Jen and Kiori, they seem confused, like they don't know who I am all of a sudden. We should go into business together, Kiori says. What? I ask. I couldn't have heard that right. We should go into business together, Kiori says again. I know about the spiritual world and you know about the natural world. It's the perfect partnership. That's probably why fate brought us together as friends. Friends. Something about the way she says it makes it feel like I found something. I know it sounds corny, but in that moment, with that one word, I already feel like a different person. Or is that possible? Or it could have just been a coincidence, I say. There are no coincidences, Jen and Kiori say at the same time. For some reason, that makes us all laugh, and I don't care that I'm holding Chet's disgusting pillowcase anymore. Once we stop laughing, Kiori's face turns serious. But first, she begins, you have to tell us the truth about something. She and Jen glance at each other. Jen is still holding my bag, so I reach out for it. Is your name really Renee? I stand up straight as I can, but this bag is on my shoulder. No, I reply. My name is Valencia. Valencia Somerset. Just like a battle cry. Chapter 35, page 642. V.S. Kiori was certain that she had never heard of the name Valencia Somerset in her entire life, but something felt very familiar about it, like having deja vu. Something in her brain clicked and said, this is important, pay attention. But she couldn't figure it out. She pressed her lips together tight and tried to force an answer into her vision, but nothing came. It felt so close, like she could reach out and touch the answer, if only she knew where it was. Valencia Somerset. Renee straightened her back and then announced her real name, like she was proud of it. Kiori was fond of her own name as well. It was critical to feel empowered by your name. Kiori believed that with all her heart. We should keep looking for the stone, she said. Virgil's been missing for hours. Let's get back to work. Jen's face lit up. I know. Maybe we don't need the snakeskin stone because we have an actual snake bite. She pointed at the pillowcase, and Valencia still had it pinched between her thumb and her index finger. Well, not an actual snake bite, but snake bite juice anyway. That's got to count for something. She looked at her sister expectantly. Kiori thought. Maybe Jen had a point. Surely saliva from a snake's actual mouth had to count for more than a rock, right? It made logical sense. What do you think? Kiori asked Valencia. Never in all her days, not even in her past lives, have she ever asked another person for guidance or advice. But if they were going to be business partners, now was as good a time to start. Kiori knew the importance of collaboration in running a business. Valencia nodded. Makes sense to me. But they were interrupted again when Valencia's phone buzzed. A vibration was so loud that Kiori thought it was her own phone at first. It's my mom, Valencia said when she saw the message on her phone. She announced it like she has been giving 6 hours of homework. She wants to know where I am. Ugh. She rolled her eyes. The pillowcase dangled at her side. Kiori was reminded of the pictures she'd seen in history class, where people waved white flags to surrender. Do you have to go home? Asked Jen, whiny and weighty with disappointment. Technically, said Valencia. Kiori was about to say that the ceremony wouldn't take long. Maybe Valencia could sneak an extra 15 minutes before they had to go, but then the bells of the Buddhist monastery sounded, and Kiori had to look at her own phone too. It was her mother. It was like the parents were all on the same wavelength or something. It's Mrs. Taninka, Kiori told her sister, but the text wasn't asking where it was or when she was coming home. Have you seen Virgil Selenius, perchance? Kiori's heart dropped. The fact that her mother was asking meant someone had asked her, which meant it was one of Virgil's parents or brothers or Lola, which meant they didn't know where he was either, which meant this was a true blue emergency of epic proportions. Kiori texted back. No, he was supposed to come over at 11, but he never showed up. She started to type more details that they were looking for him now, that they were going to have a ceremony and so on, but if she did that, Mrs. Tanika might tell her to come home with Jen right away. So she deleted the few words she'd written and waited for her mother's reply. She asked if I knew where Virgil was, Kiori said, sounding like as sullen as she felt. Something was wrong. Something was very wrong indeed. That means his parents are looking for him, she turned towards Jen. So he didn't get held up at home like we thought. And he hadn't been home since Valencia went over there. Jen frowned. The three of them were quiet for a moment until Jen's face suddenly lit up, just as it had before. Hey, maybe he went off with VS, she said. Maybe they ran away together, like the movies. That's impossible, said Kiori. Yesterday he could barely say her initials without choking. Valencia's phone buzzed again. It's not impossible, said Jen as Valencia texted on her phone. Maybe he sent her a message last night or this morning and they're off right now, eating popcorn at the movies, just him and VS. You watch way too much television, Kiori said. There's no way he ran off with VS. That doesn't make any... She stopped mid-sentence. What's the matter? Jen asked. Now she understood the déjà vu. The reason Valencia's name seemed so familiar and important. Valencia Somerset. Kiori tapped Valencia on the arm. When she looked up, Kiori asked, What's your sign? Valencia put her phone away and raised an eyebrow. Why? Just tell me, are you a Scorpio? Valencia hesitated. Yes. How did you know? And do you go to the resource room on Thursdays at your school? Valencia tilted her head suspiciously. Yes. Why? Jen jumped up and down 3 times. Oh my God, Kiori, she's VS. She's VS. Yes, Kiori said, all serious business. She's VS. What's going on? Valencia asked, puzzled. I can't understand what you're saying. Kiori moved quickly to stand next to her sister, then clamped her hand over her mouth. We can't tell you. Why not? Just because. That's not an answer, said Valencia. Obviously, it has something to do with me, so I deserve to know. She shifted her eyes to Jen. So, what is it? We can't tell you because it was interrupt fate, Kiori said. She still had her hand over Jen's mouth. Valencia looked like she wanted to laugh. I'm serious, Kiori said. Fate has directly influenced this entire day so far, and it's all clear now. Come on, said Valencia. Tell me. It will all make sense once we find Virgil. Kiori could feel Jen's excitement bubbling up under her palm, ready to explode. Valencia put her hands on her hips. I won't help you find him unless you tell me. What if his life is in danger? You'd put his life in more danger just because I won't tell you something? Valencia's face fell. Her arms dropped to her sides. I guess you're right. She jabbed her finger in Kiori's direction. But you have to promise to tell me once we find him. Kiori, let's go. Kiori let go of Jen so she could put her hand on her heart. I promise it will make sense when we find him. If we find him, Jen added. When, said Kiori. When. And that was chapter 35.